good content and more of it for you. So like and subscribe and pass it around. Good to be with you. And note on Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. Happy Wednesday. Happy, like and spike to you too there, Steven. Yes, it's Balls McWednesday. I'm excited about it because we're a day closer to another match on the ice now that the series is tied at 2. I know you're going to go and Corey's going to go. Game 6. Good for you guys. It'll be a lot of fun.
Our mutual friend Bill from Corner Pocket's going to be down there as well.
Oh, good times, man.
That's a good pregame group right there.
That's a little mosey on over to Hat Tricks and get things started.
Yeah, if you're going to get to Hatters, though, you've got to get there around 3 or 4 o'clock. There's no way.
Why would you not want to?
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
I have plans in Pinellas with the family until lunchtime.
And then you make your way up to.
Yeah. Then check into the hotels at 4.
I was just at Hatters and was there twice in about a 48-hour period there, and really got lucky. We got great seats both times. We were all set, all good to go. Hunkered down for a long day.
So the last time I was at Hat Tricks was last year for Game 2 of the Cup Finals, and the Lightning beat Montreal that night.
Sure
that was great. The time before was just before the pandemic. It was crazy. It was the day of the college football playoff. Joe Burrow going nuts in the first game against OU.
Yes, he did.
And then it was
went nuts against everybody.
Ohio State Clemson in the second game. And the Lightning were, again, playing Montreal, oddly. And we walked into Hat Tricks, and people are just spilling outside. Yeah. Well, as we walked in, 2 people from the bar got up, walked away, and we had seats right in front of a television.
Doesn't happen often,
no,
folks.
It doesn't.
If you're down in Tampa, though, that's a fun little hangout. So go make it happen. But anyhow, I start the day in a jovial manner. I'm in a good mood. I have been for a long time. I mean, what's there not to be in a good mood about? Things can only get better from here for Florida State athletics. They can't get worse. Things can only get better.
Are you sure?
Well, no, I'm not sure. Not sure. We'll see. I think things are going to get better. I had fun on headlines because the SP Plus ratings are out for Bill Connolly, both nationally for the whole field, if you will, but also the ACC. And I thought that was a fun jumping off point because it's just a tool to evaluate. I use that phrase often because people have very specific things that they like to use or that they think is their Bible for judging, whether that's metrics, a certain metric, could be yards per play, for example. Any number of things that people like to look at to help better discern what a team is or is not beyond their eyes, beyond just what they think they see. And that's fine. I like to use a lot of them, but certainly I do like Bill Connolly's SP Plus, and I think it is a useful tool, not the only tool, but a useful tool to get a sense of what a team was a year ago and might be this year, given what they use as criteria, and I think that's fun. And in the case of his ACC preview, which is very specific since we cover Florida State and care, I remind everybody that again, it's you're looking at a number of factors with SP Plus. Including recruiting over the last couple of years, as well as record on the field and what you did offensively and defensively and against what kind of schedule and all those things. Florida State was third in the ACC behind Clemson and NC State for the Atlantic. And I thought, our fan base, whether they know what specifically SP Plus is or is not, doesn't really matter. If it's a ranking system and they hear Florida State's third, and there are plenty of people who do know. I know that. I'm not trying to be condescending, but I'm trying to incorporate everybody in the conversation. If you hear Florida State's ahead of Louisville and Wake in your division, you go, yes, I'd like that projection. I'd like, in this case, SP Plus to be correct. That'd be great. That would be a step forward.
Yeah, I saw also, roll your eyes. Get ready, everybody. You're going to roll them. The FPI for ESPN.
I didn't see that one. I don't pay as much attention to the FPI, Tom. As you know, that's not a metric I like to use.
I don't either.
Right.
But it's in list season. You're just looking around.
It is list season, baby.
We are so in the fog of suck here in Tallahassee that sometimes
it's a thick fog. Barely see.
And it smells too. I'm not sure it's fog. In fact, it might be something else.
Not good.
Yeah, so we're so in the midst of that I'd like to see even the evil FPI, and I do believe it's evil, like most things that involve science and math.
Yeah.
And I see that FPI thinks we're the 31st best team in the country. And in the ACC, We are in the Atlantic Division behind only Clemson and NC State. Once again, we're tied with Wake and ahead of Louisville. And I'm thinking to myself when I read 31st best. First of all, it's a sad commentary, what I'm about to say, but okay. All right. That's improvement.
28th in the SP plus.
Okay.
Pretty same thing.
You're
pretty
in the others receiving votes. This is a baby step. You've got the models saying that we're in the others receiving votes category.
Yeah, I certainly never thought that we'd reach a place where on the outskirts of the top 25 with a preseason, off-season prediction that we would say, all right, we're getting closer to cracking the top 25. In theory, if we live up to this projection, not actually cracking it, but maybe we have the tools based on the previous 2 seasons, 3 seasons, how far back you want to go, depending on the ranking system, to crack the top 25, and that you and me would derive from that satisfaction.
Like it puts a little pep in your step.
It does. It does. But if you take a big step back and think about it, you go, ooh, man, that feels a lot like probably what Nebraska fans feel like. Because that's true too. And,
I can't understand the depths of their sorrow, though. Because, we've been relevant at least once in the last 20 years. So there's that.
We've been relevant in the last 8 years. Yes,
I know.
Very.
I'm just saying, their feelings of despair and or hope. I mean, I can't method act my way through what it's like to be a Nebraska fan, especially one that would be my age, because the only time you were truly successful as a program is if you were my age, 35 years old. You're what, first and second grade, third grade? It's about it. Yeah. Then there's hype until you're getting towards high school, but that hype was never lived up to. So what do you have?
So let's get back to this. One of the reasons that Bill Conley, who produces the SP Plus, his measuring stick, if you will, one of the reasons that he has Florida State there is that he thinks they're going to be a top 20 defense. And you and I think to some degree, agree that in that general area, they have a chance to be pretty good. I don't know about, like, I've seen 15th. I don't know if they're going to be that good because I don't know that they're that deep. But I think they're going to be vastly improved. Well, I shouldn't say that. The team that played the second half of the season was a pretty good defense. I think that team takes the field from day one this year.
Yeah. If you'd say the last 8 games in which Florida State goes 5-3 and was in every one of those ball games, what did that defense look like? Top 25 defense, top 30 defense, right? Is that fair? This year, I think they're hurt by a couple of things, and it'll sound strange, but the strength of the competition is number one that they're hurt by.
Correct.
You're going against a ton of veteran quarterbacks. Correct. I don't care if it's the ACC logo on their chest.
No,
they're all 25, 26 years old, it feels like.
They also project well. A lot of those guys aren't just well thought of in the ACC. They're well thought of, period.
Right. And then the second thing that you're hurt by when you're trying to project this is what exactly is the pass rush? If it's 3rd and 7, are you going to get home? I can't project that and tell you that that's going to be an absolute yes. If it is an absolute yes, and that's what it bears out to be, then you're looking at a top 15 defense. But if you can't without bringing extra bodies, then you're probably still in that top 25, 30 range. Mm-hmm. But that's still a drastic improvement from where we were a couple of years ago, which is in the 90s and 100s. It's gotten a lot better around here.
Yeah, they got to stay healthy, man. Everything about the season, I know you can usually say this about any team participating in any sport. Like, we do this all the time in the NFL. We say, well, everything should be all right as long as they stay healthy. Well, yeah, man, that's a given. You don't even need to throw it out there. In a salary cap league, for example, in the NFL, if you lose your starting quarterback or your superstar wide receiver or your all-world first team, all-NFL defensive end for the year early in the season, yeah, you're probably going to be in trouble. Things aren't going to work out the way you'd hoped if you lose a player of that kind of significance. We call those players game-changing players. There are very few teams that can lose whomever it is, and almost every team has a guy that fits that bill. It's the best of the best, right? Whomever that is, you lose them, yeah, it radically alters who you are. So, yeah, if you lose your starting quarterback or you lose, let's say, Tatum Bethune at linebacker, you're going to be in trouble. But I would also say that That's true of any team in this conference for the most part. Now, we don't have, however, and this is where I go back to my other point about, yes, you can say it most years, but it's more significant and impactful to Florida State. They just haven't had year over year elite recruiting classes. They haven't been able to do that. So, I mean, to me, I would suggest that if you lose 2 or 3 starters on that defense that we both think is going to be very, very good, then you're in real trouble. You are absolutely screwed because the backups at this point either aren't ready to play or aren't good enough. But hey, we've got an emergency over here. I'm just looking up right in the midst. I'm going to give you a peek behind the curtain. What's going on?
The operating system is not connected. We're connected to the internet. We are on Warchant TV.
I was like, am I talking to myself in front of this camera? No. Am I?
You're talking to the Warchant TV Nation, to the stream players, to everybody on the air. It's
beautiful.
When you want to go to break, I think I might have to sing for you.
No. I'm not worried. It's just funny because, and this is why, I mean, we're transparent now that we're on video all the time. This is stuff that prior to being on video, I just look at you and you'd give me these multiple hand signals and I would know we got a ride. But when I saw the two of you have that concerned look on your face, I went, am I talking to myself? Is anybody hearing this thing? That's what they were saying in New England when Bledsoe went down. They found Tom Brady. Who's our Tom Brady, Jeff? Kayvon, there is no Tom Brady on this roster. There is no guy waiting in the wings to take over and shine in a way that, say, Tyler Van Dyke did last year when De'Aaron King went down and they realized, we were playing the wrong guy. We've been playing the wrong guy. I don't think that Tate Rodemaker would qualify as we've been playing the wrong guy. Maybe if the light bulb came on, but I don't think so. I don't think he's that. I just think he's better than he was. Not great. I'm not real sure I trust him. I will say that if he has to play this year, and I've answered this question a lot, and he wasn't done any favors, and we talked about this. He wasn't done any favors when in the spring game, when for whatever reason they decided to begin the spring game with 2-point conversion drills, in which the defense already knows that you have to throw it. Like, it doesn't do you any good on a 2-point conversion not to at least make an effort to put the ball in the end zone. So they all understand that we have only a few set plays to run for a 2-point conversion. And they know you're going to force it because the last thing you can do when you're going for 2 is to take a sack. So they jumped the routes for all 3 of our quarterbacks. They just jumped the routes. And immediately we were all left thinking, oh God, more of the same. This is great. And that was unfair. And we documented that and talked about that. I do think Tate had a much better spring than at any point in his time here. And so the reason I bring any of this up while I'm talking about a lack of depth or talented depth or, having the wherewithal to be able to survive for any long period of time if significant starters go down, I do think we're in a better situation than we were last year. And we would not have thought that going into the season, because we went into the season a year ago not knowing for certain that we didn't have a backup quarterback. Like we thought we had one of those 2 guys was going to emerge, and whoever didn't was going to be a viable backup. Turns out that obviously Jordan Travis emerged, but there wasn't a viable backup at all.
Kind of like being in a situation where I don't know that we could take a commercial break if we wanted to right now. I don't know that we have.
Are you going to test it?
That backup.
Are you going to just test it?
No, I mean, there's nothing I can do. But what I can do is talk to you about,
I thought you were going to read a commercial.
No,
that would have been the best. I don't know if I can hit the button for us to take a commercial break, Jeff, but let me tell you what I can do. I can trust Simply Safe.
That's right.
With my family. I thought you were going to go that route.
I could call T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. I don't know his license number, unfortunately. It's like CCC, something else. I don't know. But I could figure that out later. But, I mean, if you're talking about the 2022 roster being better overall than 2021, I felt that way within 2 or 3 practices this spring.
I just didn't think it was significantly better.
Well, define significant. 1 win? 2 wins?
We're doing win shares. I like this.
Yeah. It's significantly because
codependent. It's dependent on the schedule.
Well,
too.
5-7 to 6-6, right? That's not significant enough. That's not going to get the job done.
Right.
But 5-7 to 7-5, is that significant? 5-7 to 8-4.
On a serious note, and not to stall, honestly, having the conversation, since we're having the conversation, I will just tell you that it's a big deal if you can say yes to that. Like if you could say 5-7 to 7-5, and you marry the conversation with the fact that you have I think a very difficult schedule, and you're going to tell me there's a 2-win potentially difference because of the roster is that much better. That's a big difference, Tom.
Yeah, I would agree. The other thing I'd say though to argue against it is you're basically a 6-6 team last year if you don't blow it in one of the easiest games on your schedule. So how significant is a jump to 7 wins? It might not actually be that much because, I mean, Jacksonville State is Jacksonville State.
It is a reminder. I will tell you this. It is a reminder that every season is in and of itself, because yes, you can say we were basically a 6-6 team if we hadn't blown the easiest game on the schedule and did what we did, which was absolutely silly. But at the same time, none of us looked at that schedule and said that the back half was where you were going to make hay. It was the front half where you went 0-4 that we thought all the wins had to happen in, and they didn't. You didn't get any of the wins you thought you were going to get. And then you got several on the back half that you thought were either toss-ups or that you simply couldn't win. And yet even the ones that you didn't get, you very well could have. I mean, the Clemson game, we all know that very well could have, maybe even should have, ended in a win on the road. There's none of us that would have predicted that. And then the Florida game, I'm a little bit more bullish on Florida was the better team there. I know Ira and I disagree on this point. He thinks they could have won that game. I thought Florida looked like they had better players. They were more physical. They were bigger and stronger at the point of attack. I actually feel like had they started the right guy at quarterback, which they didn't.
Yeah.
Had they done that, we would have gotten blown out.
The other thing I'd say about that game though is I think we got baited, and that's something I'm worried about. Emotionally, we got baited pregame by their bully tactics.
Yeah.
We got to be better, and that's on the coaching staff to not let us engage. They should have laughed
at that. I mean, they should have just been like, what are we doing?
But they engaged, and they looked rattled for it, and that's something that I wish Norvell did a better job of, which is, hey, guys, don't talk to them. What are you doing? They've got an interim coach. Stick with us.
We can never know if they were baited and it had an impact. We saw they were baited, but we don't know if it had an impact, the fact that they engaged. I think that is a bit of playing the result. Maybe they were, but we won't know because Jordan got hurt early. I'm tired of that phrase too. And listen, I don't blame him, but that situation is not, that's untenable. You can't have a starting quarterback that frequently misses practice and misses portions, if not all, of games because he's always hurt. There's no continuity in that. So, Chef Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Are we going to give it a go?
We'll just go radio silence for a couple minutes so you can gather your breath.
What the hell's going on around here? We can't hit commercial breaks. I'm looking at them. They look fresh and ready to go.
You're looking at them?
Yeah, I can see them.
You got a big play button you can hit?
Yeah, come over here and do it.
You don't. Just move the mouse over and hit the play button. Send us to break.
It's great radio.
Let me know when you do.
So you want me to hit the sellers?
No, just the big play button on the right. I'm not kidding. There's a
there you go. I just hit it. Spot breaks fired.
Contractors, designers, and homeowners. Better design ideas. Better quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring. Better mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions. And Sellers makes it easier with their amazing showroom and first-class professionals. Maybe it's time to get Sellers working for you on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com for better style, quality, and design. Go with Sellers in Tallahassee. Call 656-8453.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
This is Ken Wondergem, owner of Gem-Maz of Tallahassee. Since the new car supply shortage, it's common knowledge that your trade-in is worth $2,000 to $3,000 more. However, Other manufacturers' dealers are adding $2,000 to $3,000 to the price of their new cars, so you end up losing your equity. At Gem Mazda of Tallahassee, you'll keep your equity, since we will not mark up the price of the new Mazda you want while still giving you more for your trade. And since we're not marking up our new car prices, our pre-sold list is growing by the day. Reserve your new Mazda today and discover Mazda's award-winning quality and the high level of service and care you'll receive at Gem Mazda, where there's no additional markup on any of our new luxury performance vehicles. Gem Mazda of Tallahassee, where we take our slogan seriously. No games, no gimmicks, just a gem of a deal. And no additional markups. Come see us soon, Capitol Circle Northwest, just up from West Tennessee Street, and always open at gemmazda.com.
Matt, when you think of a successful Southern cookout, what do you think of first?
The food, of course.
The food, but you got to think about the food prep. And Hearth and Patio has thought about that with their awesome grills.
What kind of grills?
Fire Magic, Broil Master, Blaze Grills, Kamado Joe. Matt, they got it all.
Wow.
Custom outdoor kitchens. Create an outdoor cooking space.
You'll be the envy of your neighborhood.
You will be the envy of your neighborhood, and you'll make a lot of people jealous. That's because you called Hearth and Patio at 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. Or you can visit Hearth and Patio online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
It's a backyard barbecue party. Leslie Holcomb's the number one more time.
850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. The Hearth and Patio, they not only keep the home fires burning, Hearth and Patio will elevate your grilling game.
Nice.
Nice indeed.
Hey, Nole fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Spend an hour on this, and I'm not going to. But the players twisting themselves in knots on the PGA Tour who chose to play in the Live Golf event that nobody's going to see is great theater. At one point, Martin Keimer was asked, "Wouldn't you want to test yourself against the best players in the world?" Which is a valid question since they're not going to be in the Live Golf event, and it's never been a motivator, but I would be lying if we wouldn't enjoy a few more dollars. What? That's not an answer. I don't even know what that that's not even an answer.
It's almost like he's so nervous for the question that he thinks he was asked the question when he wasn't.
Yeah. He also said, "I'd love to play against the best in the world, but at the moment I can't. Perhaps I'll be closer. Come Saturday, I'm expecting." He's just like he's stutter effing his way. He's scared to death because he knows it's not really a good answer here other than I just wanted the money. I just wanted large sums of money. I'm not the player I was. The guy that won those majors no longer competes at anywhere close to a high level on the PGA Tour where the best players reside. And since I'm near the end of my career, probably going to lose my card anyhow, why not take this money and run for the hills? There you go. Say that, Martin. Say it.
And you should. For the most part, for most of these guys, I don't begrudge them. I don't begrudge what they're doing because, in the end, it's about you. And that's what the PGA Tour is about. That's what any of these corporations who sponsor PGA Tour events are about. I know that's not a popular take, but that's where I stand on the particular issue. It's just that don't take the extra steps to say it's not about that, because that's the only thing it could be about.
It is the only thing it's about. There is no cachet to a single event that they'll be playing in. So
Correct.
What I mean by that is, and here's why it's of concern for the PGA Tour, regardless of going down the road, whether or not you should want to play for a murderous regime. I think that if you don't care about your career arc and you don't care where you sit at the end of said career in the pantheon of golf, then you can go and take whatever money you get from whatever blood money group you want and go play in any event. So, and there's a direct link to that, Tom, as opposed to the 6 to 7 layers that you're going to tell me about in a second about sponsors.
No, but I wouldn't even say that, though. So are we supposed to not participate in this country's economy because we take money from the Saudis too?
Which
you know
is
what
why,
I mean? Like,
so
where does it stop?
I understand, which is why I said what I just said, is that there's a direct link here with those that are seeking to quote unquote sports wash away their bad deeds, as opposed to the sort of ancillary effect that you're talking about, where if you go down the road, eventually you'll find that the shirt you're wearing is somehow connected to a sweatshop. I got what you're saying.
Right.
So the point would be that all of these guys pretending that it's not anything but the money are all, they should all stop immediately, because they make themselves look like fools. Secondly, they immediately, I think, absolve themselves from any significant victory moving forward. There is no chance for them to do anything of any significance on the Live Golf Tour. So, for example, one of the great things about the PGA Tour is that, and I'm not talking about the money that's made, I'm talking about us as fans watching a league. Like, we like to watch the NFL.
Right.
Because of what? Well, first of all, there's a history there. The Dallas Cowboys have a history. So you know that history as you grow up in football. And let's say that a player with the Miami Dolphins gets traded to the Dallas Cowboys. Immediately within that, they don't go from being traded from the Miami Dolphins to Israel. They go to, and I'm just using any country, they go to the Cowboys within the league. And all of that history stays contained in that way. So part of watching a sporting event, like let's say the Honda Classic, you'd say, well, Jeff, the Honda Classic isn't that significant. But alas, most people who like the PGA Tour can tell you where they were when Adam Scott hit that 6-iron from whatever it was on 17 to within 3 feet, and thus putted in to secure his place as a Honda Classic champion, right? You can do that at Sawgrass, for example. Where were you when Phil hit this shot? Oh, by the way, next week we're playing at the Country Club. I remember when, and I don't, but you could say, we all know Bobby Jones hit this shot on this course when. So you're comparing careers. Jordan is comparing his career, or LeBron is comparing, that people like to compare LeBron's career to Jordan's career to Magic's career to go on down the line. There's cachet for every one of those events because of the rich history of the PGA Tour. There's zero history. There is zero cachet. There's nothing to be gained by winning a golf event for the Live golf event other than the money. Like, it doesn't go on the ledger. Nobody's going to be like, Phil just added to the ledger of great victories. He won the London Live golf event, which, by the way, is a 54-hole event. It's an exhibition. It's a joke. As a fan of the tour and the history of the tour, just as a fan, and again, not getting into the argument about who's more culpable for taking which money from where and what regime, it's bad for the PGA Tour, obviously, but it's bad for golf if you're a fan of golf, because if you get fractured, then you have no more tour. Now, one thing I will tell you, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the PGA Tour is going to win out. Largely, this is going to be out of sight, out of mind for a lot of these guys. Nobody cares where Kevin Na plays. Nobody cares where Martin Kaymer plays, because they're useless players that nobody has a vested interest in anymore. And that's why a lot of these guys are either has-beens or people who are ready to move on. They're going to take this huge amount of money, and then you're never going to see them again. I would say Dustin Johnson falls in that category. He is the one that's probably most significant. Phil's 51. What else was he going to win? I know he won the PGA, but
DJ could still win majors, though, for the next 10 years.
Maybe. I don't know that he wants to. I think this decision kind of reveals that maybe he doesn't love golf.
That's fair.
And I think that's true with a lot of these guys.
Maybe he never did, though, and he was still winning majors when he didn't love it.
Maybe. It is fascinating. I think that guys reach a place where they have a tough decision to make, and they say, all right, I'm going to be guaranteed $125 million. And we can get into this. And listen, I think it's awful, but it doesn't matter. I understand arguments on both sides. For him, though, what can't be argued is that he has summarily dismissed himself as a viable PGA Tour player because he's not going to be allowed to play in the events.
Right.
So his place in history is now cemented. It is over. There's nothing more he can do unless he wins the U.S. Open or something like that, which he's not going to. His 24 victories or whatever it is, I'm citing from memory, I think it is 24 victories, is significant. Well, why is it significant? Because it's in comparison to other players that have played the PGA Tour in the history of the league. Where does he rank? He's now done. It's over. And that is a striking decision that he cared and valued the money more than he did the breadth of his career moving forward, which at his age is surprising. It's not surprising for a 57-year-old or a 48-year-old.
Yeah, Richard Bland is a great example.
Yeah.
Dude had a 54-hole lead in a major, and you know it's going to crash and burn, and he knows it's going to crash and burn.
Everybody knows.
But he's just living in the moment, and he cannot believe that he's in this position, and now he's got a chance to cash in a way he never would have before.
Correct. So he's going to do it.
Right.
But I have two ways of viewing those players. Like, A, shame on you, DJ, for a lot of reasons. Mainly because walking away from a 24-victory career in two majors with more on the horizon if you were locked in, we think he's that kind of talent, that's a shame, especially for a guy that's made $100 million in his career already. All right, well, got it. You needed more money. Apparently Phil did too because of all his gambling debts. I got it. It's a shame. But I think that I view players differently if you're, for example, there's a kid from Georgia who's playing in this live golf event, and he doesn't have status on tour. He has no status. He has no place to play.
Right. Yeah.
I view that very differently. Most of these guys want to play golf somewhere, and if they don't have a ride, for lack of a better term, they don't have a sponsorship, they don't have money,
right.
They don't have status, not even on the Korn Ferry Tour in some cases. If you're offered a place to play and you got to play because you're trying to be a pro golfer, and you don't have your tour card yet, you're not on the PGA Tour, I could see that differently.
Well, now I don't know that you feel comfortable sharing some of the details you told me off the air about, Brooks got married this weekend and
Trey was there, yeah.
There were dignitaries there and such in the game of golf. Leave it at that way.
Mm-hmm.
But you know who else is there? Obviously, his brother, who is going to play on the Live Tour. Because his brother, there's no way that he's going to make the PGA Tour.
Doesn't look like it.
So what an interesting household that is.
Yeah, and I would just say this, if we're going to get to what I think this is going to spawn, it is...
I meant golf dignitaries, not Saudi dignitaries. I could see how that was taken both ways, and I don't mean that.
Yeah.
I don't think there were Saudis at Brooks' wedding.
There were not.
Okay. Yeah.
But what I think this is going to do, and then we'll move on from this, is that it's going to force the PGA Tour to have a more intimate relationship with its members, which are the players, of course. The tour requires players to show up and play in a certain number of tournaments every year if you want to keep your card and be on the tour. And thus you're also forced to be there at a certain time to play the pro-ams to satisfy the sponsors and everybody else. There is resentment amongst tour players, especially if you're not Brooks Koepka or one of these elite players. Those guys all have their own jets. They get on net jets and they're there in an hour, and it's not a hardship. It's just not hard. You've got your own jet. You're sponsored. You're making $24 million a year from Nike. I mean, tough luck. Oh, you got to go play golf at Pebble Beach on a Monday. How tough, right? Nobody wants to hear that. Fans certainly don't want to hear that. But the players that don't have it like that, because it is the ultimate meritocracy, right? You're fighting to keep your card. You're one of these guys, you make a cut one week, you don't make it the next. You miss out 3 in a row. Now you're in the hole because you pay your way to those events. You pay your way. The tour does not provide for you to be there, yet you're required to be there to play in those pro-ams. And those players are saying, look, man, I lost $50,000 this weekend. If I don't make the cut next week, there's another $50,000 that I lost, and whatever it is, right? Players will point out a certain dollar amount that they lose each week, and then maybe they keep their card by the skin of their teeth, but it's not a profitable endeavor to be a professional golfer at that point, or not very profitable, right? They would say that is the only league in the world, professional league in the world, where that is true. So their argument is there are only, 125 PGA Tour players that have made it on the tour?
Yeah.
Roughly 125. That's a very select group. It shows you how damn good everybody is, right? If you're a part of that group, if you make it on that tour, even if we never hear your name, but you keep your card, Sean O'Hara's sorry ass is still in the league, right? He's made it that long because he makes cuts, he makes a living, he makes a lot of money, and that's probably a bad example, but he's not an elite player, but he's good enough to keep his card, and that's good living if you can get it. But it's hard to do. There's only 125 of you. They're saying, hey, man, if I crack the code and I make it, it's not unlike being a Major League Baseball player. I made it to the bigs or making it to the NFL. I made it to the NFL. Those guys get paid every week, whether they play or not. And they don't have to pay their own way to the next game. They are a member of the National Football League, Major League Baseball, the NBA. They could be on the end of that bench. You know how hard it is to make it on the end of that bench in an NBA for an NBA team? It's very, very hard. Millions of people try and very few can make it. None of them are paying their own way. They're all getting paid every night.
Yeah, there are some points that Liv will bring to the table that will probably influence the PGA Tour in a positive way.
Yeah.
And like the stance I have briefly, because David hits on it in the chat, he says, is this tour even on television?
No.
Right. That's the point.
No, it's not.
I don't begrudge these guys to go make their money. I'm not going to hold them to a higher standard than I hold an owner of an NFL franchise or a sponsor of a PGA Tour event. I'm not. I'm just choosing not to do that. But am I going to watch it? No, I'm not going to watch it. I don't care if it's I go to whatever, livetour.com, and there it is. I could have it right there on my screen. If it's Dustin versus Bryson in a final in the Live London, I don't care. I'm not watching it. I'm just not.
Well, because it doesn't, first of all, the way it's set up is a clown show. We won't bog anybody down with the details of that, but the way that the rounds are set up is a clown show. Secondly, it's 54 holes. It's not even a real event. Like, the more golf you play, the better you vet the field, the more you find a true champion. That's how this works.
I like that they're doing team events and stuff like that. The Zurich happens in the PGA, but they could roll more fun stuff.
And they may do that. I don't think those events are fun. I used to, but I don't anymore. I think the Zurich is stupid. But that's my personal opinion. I don't care. Like, if you want to see more of those, maybe I bet your opinion is probably more in line with a lot of other people. I don't need to see team events unless it's the Ryder Cup or the greatness
of the President's Cup.
Of course.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
it's coming up, buddy. Can't wait. Now those events, that's a big deal.
Australia this year.
So those are big events for me. But no, I don't need to see team golf. Golf's not a team sport. It's an individual sport. How are you going to do, Dustin, against the best players in the world? We won't know because they're not here. They're not here.
Don't say that to
College golf is very different. College golf is very different. It is a team sport. College golf is a team sport. It has an individual element, but it is a team sport. And the way you set your team up is, and who you roll out when. That is a very different deal. We know what we're watching. It's like you and I watching the difference between college baseball and pro baseball. Once you get over that college baseball is not pro baseball, then you can enjoy college baseball. Yeah. But it takes some doing.
Oh, it's its own kind of clown show.
Especially if you grew up with pro baseball and then you've got to come into college baseball.
But then you appreciate the clown show a little bit. You're like, all right, this is a clown show, but it's fun.
Well, I don't know. I think that college baseball, we suck right now. But college baseball, in terms of the depth of talent and competition and how many of the guys go from college baseball to pro baseball, it's a lot more now than it used to be.
But we're seeing a lot more 20 to 15s or 14 to 9s than we have seen in a long time.
Now, and that too is an interesting conversation because a lot of people believe that is the direct result of two things. But one of them is that pitchers no longer know how to pitch. They know how to get MPH. They're hoping for velo and velo only. How hard can I throw it? Guys, hitters anymore don't care if you throw 98. Used to be nobody could hit 98. Now, if you throw 98 and it's straight, I'll hit that all day long. Go ahead, bring it. I won't, but good hitters will. Whereas
it's also probably 94 or 95 by the standards of the gun in the 90s and 2000s because they're measuring now with the pinpoint accuracy of a TrackMan or whatever the system is.
Yeah.
They get it more in the hand now. So you get a higher velocity. That's another reason that you're seeing a lot more high velocity pitchers. It's not just specialization, which is part of it, but it's also that, if Nolan Ryan was clocked in 1984 with the way it's clocked now, that sucker might have been throwing 103, 104.
Well, you got the kid at Tennessee who throws 105. And that anywhere, by the way, does miss bats. There is a threshold where he can throw straight at 105 and you're not going to hit it. But most guys can tee off, especially with the launch angle and everything else we now know. That's where you're seeing a lot of bombs everywhere but here. You're watching guys hit the ball out of the ballpark, and they can hit 99, especially because it's straight. And they are fighting to hit home runs.
That was such an honest everywhere but here.
Everywhere but here. Everywhere but here. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Police Department said Tuesday afternoon it believes the body found inside a home on Wesley Drive is that of Avis Anderson, who has been missing since October of 2020. The department says it is waiting for positive identification in the cause of death following an autopsy from the medical examiner's office. The body was found inside the home which Anderson had owned Friday. Detectives had searched the house multiple times for Anderson when she went missing, but they did not find her. TPD did deploy cadaver dogs in those searches. A junk pro worker found the human remains while cleaning out the home on Friday. Testimony is now underway in the retrial of Preston Hart. Hart is accused of shooting and killing Jason Joseph during an argument on the corner of Indiana and Callaway Streets back on January 13th of 2019. Joseph was found dead outside an apartment nearby, and an autopsy confirmed he'd been shot 3 times. Hart stood trial earlier in 2022, but after more than 6 hours of deliberation, the jury could not agree on a verdict, and the judge declared a mistrial. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at macklemoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Partly cloudy this afternoon with a slight chance for scattered thunderstorms. High temperatures reach up to 94. Southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight. Slight chance for scattered thunderstorms. Lows level off around 73. Scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow. Highs level off around 94. A mix of clouds and sun. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 89.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
We need to have history. We need to have literature. It deserves an explanation. We don't need to be promoting lifestyles that come into play for your average elementary school.
Well, I had an experience with this. When my daughter was in school, her teacher gave her a book to read, but then she asked me what the C word is.
That was in the book.
That was in the book.
Okay, so about the C word. So you're talking about conservatives, right?
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Great rates, cutting-edge technology, and transparent communication is the recipe for a 5-star mortgage experience at FSUHomeLoans.com.
The door. 16 appearances with the Noles this past year, 77 strikeouts and 48 innings. Never good to lose a guy that throws 95 from the left side.
Yeah, you give that player every last opportunity to have the light bulb click on, as it did that Sunday against Miami when he came out of the pen and shut them down. You would take a chance on that guy.
You would, and I'm going to be intrigued to see what else happens and if anything else happens, because that it bears, without being salacious, it bears our attention, because you got a lot of people right now who are looking very closely at a program that is not living up to its own standard, and they want answers. I would think the athletic director is one of them. And I'm curious to see what the exit meetings and conversations are like. We don't know. We're not in those conversations. But one can discern from a distance if a multitude, as opposed to singular or a couple, players decide that they're not staying, then you've got a problem in-house. You've got a real problem, a fractured program. That's what that would be evidence of. There's no other way to say it. And if that's the case, than a program that perhaps you cast a John Desai on currently wondering about. You expedite the urgency surrounding what are you going to do? What decisions have to be made? I think this is more a question of who is Mike Alford? This becomes intriguing because we could sit here as fans do, and I do, and you do, we all do, and give our opinion about the job Meat's doing or not doing and what we think might happen or where he sits. Like, let's say you think he should come back, but you admit that they're not living up to the standard, and thus he enters next season on the hot seat. Another guy might say, I've seen all I've needed to see. I didn't like the hire to begin with, and I think we've got ample evidence this isn't going the right direction. He should be fired. Fine. And then there's a bunch of people in between, right? But where the rubber meets the road is, what does Mike Alford think? And right now he's having to figure out what this program is and the direction it's headed. And from afar, if you watch Ross Dunn transfer and it's followed by this name, and this name, talking about the core talent of a team that can get better with guys like him, well, if they leave, then you've got nothing to fall back on. And that might change the decision that you make regarding your head coach.
Yeah, that's fair. There was something we talked about yesterday, which was once upon a time, this is a program that made money for the university. It wasn't just something that you did because this is who Florida State is as an athletics department. We're excellent in baseball. And then you wore it on the chin in the red.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they made money.
Yeah, they did.
I don't know, and I suppose this is an interesting question, as the generations start to reject baseball a little bit more, at least, incoming freshmen at Florida State University don't say, I can't wait to go to Hauser to catch a baseball game. That's not really the culture anymore of the undergraduate community. You could probably do a little bit more to help them out, like put a hole in the fence in right field like they do in Auburn and let them set up, tailgate tents and stuff, and maybe that will help. But the question is, can it make money again?
Yes.
You think so?
Does all up and down the SEC. They've made it a place to be. When you go to, as you know, and you've been, Baton Rouge or let's say Mississippi State or Auburn or Tennessee currently, my God, you go those places, they're making money. That's a place to be. One wouldn't miss it. Now, I'm older than you, and I can tell you that when I was in school here in the early 90s, in fact, it was something that you needed to go to, and it was packed, and it was a lot of fun.
In my day, too. We had Posey and Jack. That team was...
Well, they had a long run. And the bottom line is it was an electric atmosphere and a lot of fun. And I get what you're saying. Bigger picture here, baseball is not as popular. Its popularity has waned to varying degrees, whether we're talking about pro baseball, college baseball.
And we've always had an older fan base. I mean,
I make fun of that all the time. But that's because you don't do a lot to liven things up, as you just noted, and you can. Now, I think it starts with it's an uphill climb right now because they've waited too long. I mean, the facilities over there suck. I love Hauser because I'm nostalgic and because of what it represented and what it once was, and it's got charm to it compared to some other stadiums. But the nuts and bolts of that place is a dump, and there's no getting around that.
Yeah, that's one thing I'd say about a lot of baseball facilities is that they're just much better than Hauser. I think it's overblown in the football department because a lot of the stadiums, I mean, you saw Baton Rouge. I was just there in Auburn. It's much like Baton Rouge. A lot of those stadiums are ugly as hell.
Oh, no. Florida State's facade is better than, virtually every stadium in the country.
Right. But even if you look at the concourse of those particular stadiums, I mean, it's kind of, I was at Memorial Stadium in Austin.
Yeah.
You go up there.
Stale.
Well, not only is it stale, it's compressed. You're on a Tokyo subway. Like you feel claustrophobic. And I'm not one to be claustrophobic. And I'm up there, I'm like, oh my God, this is not meant for this many people. It's like the Rose Bowl that had its issues with the tunnels and stuff as well. So a lot of football stadiums are antiquated. Yeah. And you look at them underneath and you're like, ugh. So I don't think Doak Campbell is that far behind. Even the underbelly of it.
And they're
being
working
disgusting.
on making that better anyhow.
I don't think it's that far behind other stadiums like it.
No.
Hauser, on the other hand.
Oh, buddy.
You go to Auburn, you go to LSU.
You go virtually anywhere.
Yes.
Even in this conference. I've been to Virginia and North Carolina. Go see their stadiums. They're better. They're better. And at one time, you could never say that. You wouldn't. In fact, it was kind of a crown jewel in the South there to go to a game at Hauser. I remember, and it's interesting, years and years and years and years ago, the year, unfortunately, not, it's very sad, rest in peace, as I say, the year the summer Lee Bowen passed away, I went out to Seattle. In fact, I flew back to be at the service. But anyhow, I was out in Seattle. And while I was there with my buddy Matt, I said, let's go over to, Washington. Let's see the university. I've always heard it's beautiful, and it is. And so we toured the campus. I like university campus. Anytime we go to a college town, I'm going to go to the university just to see it. I want to go to the library. I want to see what life might be like there, all that. And of course, like everywhere, they have their pluses and minuses and, parts of the university that are beautiful, others that you're like, I went to their baseball stadium. Oh my God, it was a travesty. And the reason I went to their baseball stadium was because I know at that time, I was like, man, Hauser's pretty awesome. It still felt viable. It still felt like a place that you'd want to be in. It had real character. Washington had like a park bench. It was ridiculous. And it was a major, Pac-12. I mean, what are we doing here? And now, fast forward to where we are, these parks have all supplanted.
Right.
Hauser.
We're the park bench.
Yeah, that's right.
The question is,
with dusty fans and puddles,
what area can you create around there that would allow for people to do what they do in all the other stadiums, which is set up lawn chairs and slam some beers and have a good time?
You got to move it. You got to go over there by college town, and you got to put the stadium there, and you build a new one, and you get a corporate sponsor like Comcast or whatever, and that's the name of the stadium, and you go from there.
I agree, but for the next 10 years until that's done, you got to create something.
Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with us. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
With Seminole Auto Glass. You're probably driving right now, which means you're surrounded by glass. Did you know that each piece is made differently? Your windshield is 2 sheets of glass with a thin plastic in between. This allows it to take an impact without going all the way through. Side and back glasses are typically tempered. This strengthening process is what allows them to be shattered in the event of emergency. Regardless of the glass or how it breaks, we can help. Trust your local auto glass experts. Seminole Auto Glass, proudly serving the Big Bend for over 15 years. Better call Seminole.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
This is Andy Cohen. When I was a law enforcement officer, I devoted my life to a career of service and protection. Who's protecting you? Give me a call. 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. Helping you is what we do best.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
Another check from Northern Florida?
Yes, Your Majesty.
And may I ask why we get it?
It's from one of our businesses in the States, a pest control company.
Oh, and what do we know about pests in Northern Florida?
Absolutely nothing.
Did you know that most pest and termite companies that serve Tallahassee are actually owned and operated by people that don't even live in our area? One owner is actually in Great Britain.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control was founded in North Florida, operates in North Florida, and services North Florida.
All of Paul's decisions and treatments, plus prevention methods, are centered around the unique needs of our wonderful part of the world.
Being local really does matter in our industry.
Don't trust the health of your family to companies that aren't even on our continent.
Protect your biggest investment from termites and your family and pets from pests with a company with the local advantage. Paul's Termite and Pest Control.
And remember, Paul's keeps North Florida lawns green too. For the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn too.
Call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
Will you use a fly swatter?
I believe we do.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. President Biden says voters in Tuesday's round of midterm California primaries made clear that crime is a major issue.
I think the voters sent a clear message last night
Both parties have to step up and do something about crime as well as gun violence.
The president also urged state and local officials to use the billions of dollars approved by Congress to hire cops and reform police departments. San Francisco residents voted overwhelmingly to recall Progressive District Attorney Chesa Boudin in a heated campaign that divided Democrats over crime, policing, and public safety reform in that famously liberal city. The mayor will appoint his replacement, but Boudin could also run again in November. An armed man who made threats against Justice Brett Kavanaugh arrested near the justice's house in Maryland. The man is from California, in his 20s, and was armed with a gun and a knife. His identity has not been released. He told law enforcement officers he wanted to kill Kavanaugh. Also at townhall.com, police investigating a fire at a Western New York pro-life pregnancy center as a case of arson.
Compass Care Chief Executive Jim Harden says the fire was reported at about 3 a.m. Tuesday and left the building temporarily unusable. He said someone scrawled, "Jane was here" on the suburban Buffalo Medical Building, which he said referred to a pro-abortion group known as Jane's Revenge. Compass Care says pro-life services will resume Wednesday at an undisclosed location. Harden says the pregnancy center and others like it have received threats since the leaked draft opinion that suggests the U.S. Supreme Court is poised to overturn Roe v. Wade. Keith Peters reporting.
The Dow is down 289 points. The NASDAQ is off 73. More on these stories at townhall.com.
I'm about to compare a pepper shaker to a cash-out refinance. Hang with me. You know when you're at a restaurant and they ask, "Would you like some fresh ground pepper?" And then they crank that giant tube, but almost nothing comes out? For me, only a certain amount of time is socially acceptable to wait. I know that getting that pepper out might make my life better, but it just seems too impossible. And that's what we hear people say about the cash-out refinance. People realize that the value of their home has gone up like hot pepper the last few years, leaving all this extra money sitting inside their home. But is it too hard to get out? It's Ryan from United Faith Mortgage. If you're interested in cashing out the extra pepper in your home, we're good at doing all the work while you just sit back and relax. And often, your mortgage payment and years in the loan will stay the same. If you'd like to hear about your options,
we are United Faith Mortgage.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage Corp. 25 Melville Park Road, Melville, New York. Licensed mortgage banker. For all licensing information, go to nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Corporate NMLS number 1330. Equal housing lender. Licensed in Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Wooden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at woodenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Seals, Tom, on the show, we've had fun pointing to horrific songs from the 70s that outlasted their usefulness and were very, very popular at the time, and sometimes played on the Jeff Cameron Show for that reason.
So he worked with Croft?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's Seals and Croft.
All
yes.
right.
Yeah, Jim's dead. He just died. He died yesterday. That's why I said, I hope this finds you doing better than Jim Seals.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So you may recall Seals and Croft, everybody. Spectacular hits such as Summer Breeze. When I say spectacular, I use the word loosely. Was a big hit. Diamond Girl, I do believe, Seals and Croft, if memory serves. You know that song. Diamond Girl. Dun, dun. You know that song?
Be careful. That was very close. We might get dinged for copyright because it was so accurate.
Can't help it that I perfectly imitate a piano. So it's. I would just tell you that those are the two that I know. I'm sure they had more hits. Their kind was appreciated in the mid 70s.
Yeah, Summer Breeze made it to number 6.
That was a big hit.
Diamond Girl made it to number 6.
Oh, so I named the two.
And Get Closer in 1976, featuring Carolyn Willis,
that one I don't know.
To number 6.
I don't know that one. I'm sure driving down the road playing GTA or something, the song has come on, and I've gone, "Oh, that's it there, yeah, that one." That's Seals and Croft. Because you could, anyhow, he's dead. We always make note of these things because we used to occasionally Summer Breeze. I think working up till we got to Frank eventually because we were looking for summer songs.
Well, so
we may have used
Summer Breeze was a standard. We'd probably mix it in once a week or so until we found Ambrosia, but Frank was not allowed until May 1st. Because April was still a little too cold, and May, most ballparks are starting to warm up, and you're feeling that breeze.
That is correct. So that's where that was. Hey, I didn't make mention of this last hour when we were talking about Florida State being projected by Bill Connolly and SP Plus to finish third in the ACC Atlantic, 28th nationally. That in that article that previews the ACC Atlantic, and I'm guessing the ACC Coastal will drop tomorrow, or if it already hasn't. The Coastal's, whatever. But I looked at the Atlantic, and down at the bottom, they have certain anniversaries or highlights for the ACC that he listed. No. There are some good ones. Or of the programs in the conference, and they weren't always in the conference. So, for example, in 1987, Syracuse went 12-0, but they weren't in the ACC, but they went 12-0.
So does the ACC champion that the way they do Notre Dame successes or Miami successes?
Yeah, well, the SEC will. They're going to tell you about Oklahoma's championships when they join. It'll happen. But, speaking of pre-ACC, Florida State's streak in 1987 began, which is duly noted in the piece, which is what I was happy about because it reads as follows. Now, all of you know this. We as Noles know this. But nationally, I like for people to be reminded of this profound greatness that has been unequaled, and probably will be moving forward. The only streak of consistently elite play that can possibly compete with what Alabama has done under Nick Saban since 2008 took place in Tallahassee, Florida. After hitting a rough patch in the mid-1980s, Bobby Bowden's Noles beat number 6 Auburn and number 5 Nebraska on their way to an 11-1 season and number 2 finish in the AP poll. They wouldn't finish outside of the top 5 again until 2001, winning national titles in 93 and 99. And came within a loss of potentially doing so in 88, 92, 96, and 97. Oh, but alas, yes, they did indeed. Hell, even Alabama has fallen out of the top 5 a few times during Saban's current run. Yes, they have. Unmatched is right. Unequaled. Yes, that is correct. That is the one that proudly we point to as a streak that may never be beaten. It is pretty awesome. And there are some other notes in that article, such as you and I both always liked Jim Grobe. Nice man. Got a chance to talk with him, as I always point out when we bring up his numbers. But in 1992, 30 years ago, Wake Forest won its first bowl game in 47 years. 47 years. Sweet Jesus. It got lost in the shuffle because, of course, Florida State was just steady beating everybody's ass in 1992. But Wake Forest went to and won a bowl game for the first time in 47 years. Can you imagine? Oh my goodness. That would have been fun sitting at the bar with that guy. I remember the last time we won a bowl. You do? Good Lord, Arnold Palmer. You have been around a long time. 47 years. He's a weight grouch. If you guys get that.
It was the Marlboro Bowl.
Yeah, smoke them if you got them right there as you walked in. It was great.
That's what they gave the players.
Unfiltered. Always.
Everybody got a pack.
The guy that smokes a pack or two a day, even in today's climate, in an odd way, commendable. You don't see it much anymore. My son pointed this out. Who smokes now? I was like, right, exactly. Everybody's kind of figured out that you can't do that. And I'm like, well,
then you've sheltered him well.
Hipsters smoke, but yeah, but I'm like, not too many people. Either ones that were grandfathered in who simply cannot stop and are waiting to die, or hipsters. That's it. Nobody else smokes.
Or former addicts, right?
Yeah, that's maybe the exception. Like if you're kicking black tar heroin
in recovery,
and you need to,
you're in recovery.
You're trying to fall back on something to get you through the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're putting the black tar heroin down and going to the Lucky Strike, all right, I got you. Fair enough.
I wonder what the impact of the increasingly legalized weed has been on the cigarette business. Can't be good for it.
Probably not. Yeah, because if you're going to smoke something that's better for you and makes you feel better. That's an advertisement.
Yeah, it just turned into like a Geritol ad.
I'm just
Christopher
saying,
McDonald
holding
quiz
up.
show.
Yeah, just holding it up. There's my guy. Yeah, no, I know. Here come the sex ads on the chat. They have been relentless.
They have been.
Relentless. They're like, no, don't you understand? Naked HD. It's HD. It's not standard def naked. It is butt-ass naked HD. Guys, high definition butt right here. Click on the link. High definition ass right here. If you're driving down the road and you're asking yourself, what is Jeff Cameron talking about? That would be in the chat on Warchant TV, where people can watch the show and comment and ask questions and or make observations.
And advance the show with those questions.
Correct.
Sometimes.
Yeah. What happens is, because it's a show that's wildly popular and lots of people are locking in, the sex apps or advertisement, they come on there and they say, over here, enough about Wake Forest winning a bowl in 1992 for the first time in 47 years. We've got HD butt.
I think
that's what this is.
I think it was the spring game watch along / post game show. So when you're doing one of those shows, as you know, you filled in last year for the Louisville game.
I did.
Those comments flying fast. And so they move the line. So if you go to like the newest comment, it gets bumped up every maybe second or two. The amount of people typing is insane for those things. And it's great. It makes for interesting conversation. Sometimes you go, what in the world? Well, my man.
You made me laugh. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Please keep going. I'm about to spit something. I was laughing so hard.
The founder and administrator may have clicked on one of those and posted it and wiped it for like 5 seconds.
What are we doing here?
As I'm making a point about maybe the linebacker, like, oh, well, it looks like they won the day. There's nothing we can do now.
when you said, I just love you. You're great. That was so good. And it's great. Tom is a company man. That is so good.
I don't even know of what you speak.
There's a lot of people chatting, and they're all typing it. And it's great. And it's great. Oh, that was just a good one-off. That was good.
You never know what'll get through you. Sometimes, you're like, all right, I've got a one-liner that's killer, and you're like, shut up now. And then there are other times you say something, and bam. It just permeates the membrane.
You typically know that I'm a bit of an absurdist, but I would say the reason that was great was just how in character you said it so well. It's like, it's almost believable. Like that was really he almost pulled that off. That was like Sean Penn in his prime, like Mystic River acting right there. I was like, look at this. Look at Tom. He just kept the wheels going.
Hey, man. When I walk into this building,
it's time to lock it in.
On. Here we go.
Let's lock it in.
You are. Hey, when I had to walk up the steps after Jacksonville State hits a bomb touchdown, I saw there were no flags on the field. In those 16 steps to the second floor, metamorphosis happened. It was all right. Let's lock it in.
You do that better than I do that. And there's pluses and minuses to both. And I would say that, obviously being overly emotional after the program's most embarrassing loss in its history is not a good thing. There's plenty of emotion to go around. Got to step away. So you're attacked in that moment to be professional and to say, all right, now let's figure out what this means for the program. Let's really dive in here about where we're at and what this represents, big picture, if we can get to the bottom of it. Because there's really no way to tackle that night. I thought of you because I sat watching that and I was in shock. I did the staring off in the distance thing where you're like, okay, that just happened.
Well, the reason that I was able to handle it is, we hadn't had a whole lot of success as a football program since the post-game show was launched.
Yeah, so the expectations were minimal.
I've done this. Now, this is another chapter. It's a new low.
It's a new low
but
and inside.
I've been conditioned for this moment. If you think I'm not ready for this moment, then you don't know the post-game shows that we've had to do. Like, Norvell when he had COVID and we played Miami on the road and they could have named their score.
They could have named their score.
Yep.
Like Notre Dame in South Bend. Could have named their score more than once. Yeah, more than once. And we were at one of those.
And one of them, I was actually kind of like, well, you know what? They got a little bit better tonight. And then the next week they beat North Carolina at home.
Well, that was because in the fourth quarter, with the game already out of hand and Notre Dame averaging 15 yards per carry on a counter, they decided to keep fighting and to make a stop inside the 5 and to really continue to play. It showed that the buy-in was there. Right. The talent wasn't there. The execution wasn't there. The actual winning of games wasn't there, but the buy-in was there.
And we'd seen so much quitting over the last couple of years.
Yes.
That this is actually a small victory.
It's the thing that has sustained this fan base for the last 2 seasons. It's that they know the kids that are here, those that are holdovers, and there are few and far between of those guys now from the previous regime, but those that have also committed and said yes straight out of high school, that if there's one thing we know, they're bought in. They're bought in. And buy-in's important because what are we talking about right now with this baseball team? We're not sure there's buy-in. Like the games aren't being won in a way that is satisfying, and there's not enough of them, and the outcomes are not where we want it to be from seasonal aspect. But also what has us greatly concerned is that, okay, well, that's all well and good, but are we sure there's buy-in here? Like, do the players want to be here? Because if that's not happening, those results are different. Those results mean more because if they're the byproduct of not just poor play, but also an indifference because they don't like playing for the guy, then we've got real problems on our hands, right? That is not what comes up. And I'm saying if that's what's happening. We talked about last hour with Mike Alford having to figure out where this program's at and where they're headed. But if you look at football, you don't have that question. And in many ways, I think that's what sustains a fan base. You say, okay, well, they're fighting. They care to be here. They believe in the guy. We just got to get the results now. At some point, results matter. I know Jimbo used to say they don't, that it's about process and don't worry about the results. The results will come if you're doing everything right. I don't know if that's completely true. You got to get some results. At some point, those results are the only things that are going to allow you to get the players you need to get better results. And so buy-in's nice. They've had buy-in. He was able to remove the toxicity from the locker room. There is real buy-in, a belief amongst all supporters around the program, in the athletic department, and on the field with the players. But now we do have to have some damn results.
Yeah, you just don't expect to see, and I know that we didn't have access to practice for Willie's tenure or, Jimbo's towards the end. But when you have dysfunction as a program, that's going to rear its head in practice. You're going to have moments of drama where, coaches have to leave and settle somebody down. In the case of Jimbo towards the end, maybe coaches getting at each other and they need to be separated.
Yeah.
You have all of these things that, are completely nonsensical when you're trying to build something that's a winning program. I don't ever expect that to come. Like, it doesn't even enter the mind as this is something I might see today when I walk over to the practice facility. You're not going to see anything. If there's going to be a stoppage in practice, it's because the competition has gotten so heated that dudes need to be separated because it's the same running back releasing into a route against the same linebacker.
Right.
3 rotations in the reps in a row. And now they're really mad at each other. And so the familiarity breeds the contempt. Whistle, get the hell out of here.
That's a different deal, yeah.
But it's not somebody shouting down a coach or walking off the practice field or getting kicked out of practice or a coach yelling at another coach. And then
when that happens, you're done.
There's none of that.
There's none of that.
Now, that's great that foundation is laid.
Yeah.
Can we stop talking about it and start winning some games?
Exactly, because it's a catch-22. If you don't have it, you long for it, because without it, there's no possible way to take a step forward. But once you have it and you don't have results, you get damn tired of falling back on it. At least everybody's trying. Yeah, well, that's the bare minimum, everybody.
Right. It has a shelf life, though, of being notable. Sadly for us, it did.
Yeah.
It had a shelf life, and that is no longer,
to
it's
his
expired.
credit, to Mike Norvell's credit, if you bring it up to him, and it has been brought up to him before that, hey, everybody tries real hard to practice every day and everybody seems to be on the same page, he'll get angry. Like, yeah, man, that's bare minimum. It's almost like he's saying, what are your expectations for me? They're that low that you're celebrating I got everybody to be on the same page? Look, guys, that's bare minimum what we have to have, and we have it. Next.
And that tells him all he needs to know once it's over. He's walking back to the office. It was that bad around here?
Yeah, that surely tells him.
First of all, you know that because you looked at the film, Mike, before you took the job. But yes, it has been that bad that we're still talking about things like that. We shouldn't be anymore, but we still are.
Well, because it was shocking when it reared its ugly head. I'm telling you, I go back to the 10-3 campaign in 15, where I began to say, oh, man, I don't like this. I don't like where we're headed. I don't think this is moving forward. This does not portend of success. And then, of course, they had no 10-win season the next year, right? 2016.
Yeah, the Orange Bowl win.
But they were completely lost. We knew it. We knew it was a mess.
Yeah, the funny thing was in 15, I agree, by the end of the year, specifically the bowl game, you're like, ooh, all right. There's a little bit of we don't care to be here.
Don't care at all.
Now, you kind of get it in the moment because you're not in the playoff, and what is this even? It's a New Year's Six Bowl, but really it's the same thing as Shreveport to these kids because it's not for the title.
Mm-hmm.
But during the course of that season, I was happy with that defensive effort, and certainly was happy with
they were physical in 15 on defense.
In 16, different story. The Louisville game was in you. How much time Papuchis would know he was on the other sideline? How much time did North Carolina have? To go down the field and put themselves in a position to kick a 50-whatever yard field. I mean, they had like 15 seconds. It was something crazy.
It's the dumbest thing.
And that was a heroic effort. You know what? I felt as bad for Dalvin that day as I did for Jermaine up at Clemson. Because Dalvin's effort that day is completely lost to history because we lost the football game. What he gutted himself through, that day, you could tell he was in extreme discomfort.
I can't wait till we have markers. We have these moments that we're able to talk about this program without having to reflect on how things went south and how long they have sustained the poor play that we're currently referencing. Like, I want new markers. I want something to look back on and say, they're not where they need to be at this position, or this group's going to have to get better, or this coach has to make some adjustments here. But it's not always this hearkening back to building towards, there were moments where we realized it was off the tracks. Can we have enough success that we're just making minor adjustments? Like, can we get to a place where we're like, this may be nitpicking, but if they're going to become an 11-win team year in and year out, they're going to have to get better at this. Can we just have that damn discussion centered around this team at some point? That's where you want to get to.
Yeah, it's kind of like a hockey team. If they win this series over New York, and it's looking increasingly likely, but you never know. Hockey's crazy, and we could be staring at a 3-2
It's a good
deficit.
team that we're facing.
It's a really good team. When they scored the third goal with 41.6 to go in game 2, that was it. I want that moment. I want that moment for this program. It's like, what? When they were down 3 with 42 seconds to go against LSU, and they won that game in the Superdome.
That was the moment. They believed, we believed. We look back on it now. Boy, the program took off there.
Yep. Yeah. That's when everybody bought in. Come on now.
Well,
let's get that moment.
Bought in, you mean that they have
the fan base, the NIL, all that.
Yeah. If you're thinking about solar panels, don't forget to think about the condition of your roof before you sign a solar panel contract. Call T-Spark Enterprises to come out and inspect your roof. The last thing you want to do is have to pay an additional $10,000 or more to remove your newly installed panels to have a new roof put on. Don't do that. There's a benefit to replacing your roof at the same time that you have solar panels installed. In fact, there are opportunities for tax credits to boot. Make sure you check our friends out at T-Spark Enterprises. Of course, I endorsed them for a very good reason. They did my house, not solar panels, but a new roof, and they did a great job. And I know somebody that they did solar panels with, and they did a great job there too. So T-Spark Roofing and Construction. Go check them out online, or obviously you can inquire more in the days and weeks ahead if that's something that's on the summer resume. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hi, my name is Shannon Pash, and I'm the principal at Red Hills Academy. We will provide a challenging, rigorous curriculum. We will also work with our students to teach them how to set goals and then how to work to reach those goals. Red Hills Academy will offer the Spanish language every day. Relationships are really important to us, not just with our students, but with our families and the community. This benefits parents and students alike because parents get that involvement within the school. Easily apply online today at redhillsacademy.com.
Choose Hearth and Patio for custom fireplaces, maintenance, outdoor grills, kitchens, fire pits, lighting, and so much more. Check out all of Hearth and Patio's options online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, they keep the home fires burning.
Hey, this is Dustin Rivas. During the pandemic, I noticed restaurants struggling with online ordering and watched as all the major third parties took advantage of our local restaurants and thought there must be a better way, which is why I created foodiestakeout.com. The unique thing about Foodies Takeout is that restaurants keep 100% of their order revenue versus splitting upwards of 30% with the third parties like Uber Eats and Bite Squad. At Foodies Takeout, you can find some of your favorite restaurants, such as Jerry's Midtown Cafe, Misty's Kitchen in Frenchtown, Casa Grande, and even El Jalisco. Or if you're on the north side of town, check out Horizons Bar and Grill. Why not give us a try? Head to foodiestakeout.com or text foodies to 230-9456, and I'll even give you 10% off your first meal. Supporting local restaurants has never been easier. Visit foodiestakeout.com.
This is Ken Wondergem, owner of Gem Mazda of Tallahassee. Since the new car supply shortage, it's common knowledge that your trade-in is worth $2,000 to $3,000 more. However, other manufacturers' dealers are adding $2,000 to $3,000 to the price of their new cars, so you end up losing your equity. At Gem Mazda of Tallahassee, you'll keep your equity, since we will not mark up the price of the new Mazda you want while still giving you more for your trade. And since we're not marking up our new car prices, our pre-sold list is growing by the day. Reserve your new Mazda today and discover Mazda's award-winning quality and the high level of service and care you'll receive at Gem Mazda, where there's no additional markup on any of our new luxury performance vehicles. Gem Mazda of Tallahassee, where we take our slogan seriously. No games, no gimmicks, just a gem of a deal. And no additional markups. Come see us soon, Capitol Circle Northwest, just up from West Tennessee Street, and always open at gemmazda.com.
Highway 27 Grill and Barbecue just north of Havana have become your destination for the best food either side of the state line. But what if you want fresh seafood? Say no more. Kenny and the crew have got you covered with seafood so fresh, the only way you'll get it fresher is if you grow a set of gills. Highway 27 Grill and Barbecue, 1 mile north of the last light in Havana. Highway 27 Grill and Barbecue, open 7 days a week. Get your fill at the grill.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Jeff Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Great rates, cutting-edge technology, and transparent communication is the recipe for a 5-star mortgage experience at FSUHomeLoans.com.
Of need, and anytime a name comes up, especially a name out of the SEC that played the position of need, of which I am mentioning, we tend to perk up. Although when you look at him, it's hard to get a read on who he is. Okay, the Turnitine kid from South Carolina is an offensive lineman that started, 6 or 7 games, Tom, for South Carolina. He's a kid who lost his job. Was the game against Western Michigan, Central Michigan? Who was that game against? He got benched after not that many snaps. He was able to find his way back on the field and lost his job more than once, but got it back more than once, from what I can tell. He's a big dude. It's just, is that an effort thing? That has to be an effort thing. We talked about this on the show last week. I believe at one point he had a grade of something close to 0 for a game.
He had a pass block grade of 0 against Eastern Illinois.
Eastern Illinois, that was the game I was trying to think
47 snaps, 18 pass blocking snaps, and a 0 grade in the pass blocking department.
Yeah, so Jimmy, I bring it up. You bring it up in the chat, and it's worth bringing up here to talk about because he had a 0 grade for a game, and that is disconcerting, especially when you look at the measurables and the fact that he played in multiple games and actually had a good grade in a game against a good team, as opposed to, say, those awful marks where you see red. You see red against Eastern Illinois and it concerns you, but yet you see green against, say, Tennessee.
Right.
And you go, well, what in the world is going on here? And that's where I would say that if you look at his season grades, they're not good. The overall grades for his career there, they're not good. But there are moments in the sun where he's not terrible. You would be bringing him in, surely, I think, from a depth standpoint. But you do have to ask yourself, if you bring in a guy that has multiple years left to play, does he have multiple years? Yeah, that's I don't know, man. I don't know if I want him on my roster. He's taken up a spot and he's not appreciably better than the people we have as backups to begin with.
Yeah, and we have it on the screen for those of you listening. If you want to go find us on Warchant TV later, you can find the show on demand and you'll see all the grades that we have up there. I'll pull them down in a second. But this is clearly somebody that Alex Atkins looks at on film and says, I can fix him. You know, I think that's the case here. Atkins wouldn't take the guy. He's not only the O-line coach, he's the offensive coordinator. And I understand that Mike has the final call on anybody that's a take or not as a transfer.
Sure.
But there has to be something to work with here. And clearly there's good. Clearly there is. I mean,
there have been moments where he's been good. And in particular, he's had a stretch of 4 to 5 games where he was good in pass blocking, the same area in which he received a 0. There aren't as many moments run blocking unless you count the East Carolina game, and East Carolina's whatever. Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't.
The Florida game's tough too because that was a group that quit that night, right? I mean, that's the one where I left the post game show and I went to Corner Pocket because I wanted to watch South Carolina continue to do to Florida what they were doing through a quarter and a half, and continue they did. So you wonder if that particular night maybe the defensive line decided no mas for Dan Mullen.
His inconsistencies seems to suggest that he lacks motivation. And if you're Alex Atkins, perhaps you feel like you can find it. You can inspire it. Hard to teach that size, obviously. If he's got enough bend and enough ability, Alex, like you said, more than anybody else would know exactly what he has in the way of depth, quality depth, lack thereof. If he sees something in the kid that is coachable and he thinks he can get something out of him, I'm not going to second guess Alex Atkins. He's right now earned our trust. So if that's true, then you would look upon this in a positive light if we offer and he's coming here, because that you would say then that, okay, well, he thinks he can get something out of him. I'm going to trust that he can. And if he can, we now have some viable depth.
Here's an interesting question then. We don't say this often about Florida State and the coaching staff, but could it be that in this case, if you come to Florida State to play for Alex Atkins as an offensive lineman, you are getting superior coaching than you would if you're getting coaching from an offensive line coach at South Carolina? You think that's fair to say?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say. Alex,
you don't say that much about kids going from a university in the Power 5 to Florida State. Hopefully that changes, and hopefully it's changing. but you don't hear that talking point enough of you're going to get superior development at Florida State, like anywhere. But maybe that's the case at this particular position group. So maybe this is a coach who can get something out of a kid whose numbers reflect that of inferior coaching.
Or a lack of internal motivation, whatever it might be, whatever you got to do to get yourself ready to play or care to play, whatever it might be, whatever lights your fire. It's been lacking across weeks of the season, and that can't be the case. That it's always something that is a little unnerving. I never, the phrase, it's better to say whoa than giddy up. I get nervous about guys that we're having to say giddy up to. I would think that if you're playing big-time college football, you have enough what for in you that, and you're enough of a competitor that you'd like to go out there and maul and dominate and win. I mean, you're competing to win. That's the idea. You want to win. If somebody lacks the motivation to want to go win and not embarrass themselves and be there for their teammates, then I worry about taking guys like that. Maybe that's not what it is. I don't know. He could have had injuries. I don't know.
Well, if he's around campus, then they're vetting that very question right now.
Yeah, you talk about the psychology of a young man. You sit across from him and figure out what this is.
Given how detailed this operation is, and I know that, if you're assessing things based on the elite camp last weekend and the lack of recruiting momentum for the 2023 class, I hear that, and that's all legitimate. But that's not the same thing as saying they're not organized. This group, when you arrive on campus,
they're very organized.
They know exactly what they're doing.
I feel like we're doing the same thing we just did the last segment, where we fall back on, they're trying. They are trying.
Well, in this case, it's important because you got to decide whether this player is a take.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I'm not going to accuse them of not doing their homework on a player. They know how critical every one of these moves are.
Notice something, by the way. You just referenced it because it's a topic amongst Florida State fans. It's certainly on the minds of many, as it should be. The lack of real momentum for the 2023 class. This is where we talk about, once again, at some point, there have to be results. I go all the way back to where basically the end of last season, when I first said on the air, if Mike doesn't win next year, in my opinion, he's a dead man walking. And people took it at first to mean that I thought he was on the hot seat. I don't think he's on the hot seat. He's not going to get fired after this season. I mean, very highly unlikely. I mean, he'd have to, do something awful, 2-10 type thing. But no, I don't think he's on the hot seat. But that doesn't matter. Whether he gets fired at the end of this year or 2 and 3 years from now is irrelevant. It's that, is he the guy to turn it around and win big here at Florida State the way that we're hoping, the way that when we hired him and brought him in here, that's what we tasked him with the responsibility of doing. And there are still question marks about whether or not he is the guy. Well, those questions are asked most notably not by you and me, but by players, by high school players deciding where they're going to play football. And there's no reason for them from afar to go, well, it looks like they're more organized, I'll go there. That's not how this works, man. They're looking at Florida State. Are they a viable team? Can they win the conference, play for the championship, perhaps get to the college football playoff? Do I go to the NFL if I go there? Are they going to get the most out of me? Am I going to win a bunch of games? Because, I'm getting offers from, I don't know, Georgia, Ohio State, places where I know they're going to win because their track record is showing me that they are. He's got to have the season that gets those guys excited to come here, and then you'll find momentum for whatever year's class you want to talk about. We're done with we're patching it together. This transfer portal guy comes here. This is the last season where that needs to be the case. This needs to be largely built on the backs of elite players coming out of high school that you create culture with, you build up, they wait their turn, they come in and they play, they get it, they learn behind the other guys in front of them while you're winning games. All of that, the system, everything about it, right? This has to be the last year of that. And if you don't win this year, you're not going to bring in quality players the following season and the following season. This just gets protracted. So you don't feel any momentum for 2023 right now? Well, no blank, guys. We've sucked. Of course, there's not a lot of momentum for Florida State in recruiting. They're 5-7. What? Who's coming out of high school that's like, I mean, they're outliers. They're guys that maybe either are legacy, or they're guys that for whatever reason just grew up and loved Florida State, and the idea of playing for Florida State's great. Very few who are just objectively looking across the board are looking here right now saying that's a place if I'm an elite player. You're just not. But you might if they go out and go 9-3 this year, 8-4 this year, and let's say they go 8-4 with a win over LSU and a win over Florida at the end of the year. Okay, now we're cooking with gas. We're looking at some things now where that kid who's unsure goes, I like that coach. And they beat Florida and LSU last year, and they won 8 games, and they were second in the ACC. I think they're upwardly mobile. I bet by the time I'm a junior, we're going to win and win big. I like this guy.
The hard part about that, and I hear you, and usually I push back on things like this. This is where I doubly agree. Maybe I go a step farther, is if kids are waiting for results, by the time they're going to see the results, they've got 10 weeks before they sign.
Mm-hmm.
So the amount of work that this staff will have to do.
You got to win early.
For example, that bye week between LSU and Louisville, if you can start 2-0 and you can win the game in New Orleans, you got to do heavy work. That's the weekend of September 10th. You got to do heavy work that week. Visiting high schools, getting out there on the trail to show kids that, hey, we just started 2-0 and we need you because this is not where we need it to be, but it's going in that direction. And then you have the other bye week on October 22nd. That might be too late. Like, it's the work that you're going to have to do in September that's going to be critical, because if you don't have the momentum enough to get a lot of these kids on campus for an elite camp event like we had last weekend, then you're going to have to capitalize on on-field success and do so within hours of that success and secure those visits or secure an appointment to go see the kid in their high schools. Whatever it is, September is going to be critical, not just for the results on the field, but if you're going to try and get that class established,
correct.
December is right around the corner. You don't have till February.
I keep saying it. This is where, even though they had a good second half to the season after a disastrous start, you'd still would have had it. You would have liked it to be reversed. You got to win the damn games when kids are making these decisions, and that's the first 4 to 5 games of the year. You've got to do that, and they didn't. They sucked. They were 0-4. So it can't happen that way. It's great that they did bounce back and they didn't quit and all that, but they didn't win the games early in the year to create momentum for the class. So it doesn't exist. And if they go out this year and they're 1-2, 3 games, and they lost to LSU and Louisville, which is distinctly possible, it's also possible they win those games. But if they lose them and they're 1-2, we're done. We're done. They got no chance. It won't matter what they do the rest of the way. They're screwed.
Right. You're talking about for the future, not necessarily the season in front of us. But yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, this is true. This fan base is done. They're exhausted. We have not mattered in September and forever. Our season has basically been over. When late September hit, we were like, thanks for the season. It's all over but the shouting.
Right.
What am I doing here? Watching a bunch of empty games, hoping like hell the team that I root for and love wins a few of them. But it's not changing where they're going. They're not appreciably better and in a better situation because they win a few of these middling games against suck-ass ACC teams that nobody cares about. They have got to win these games early. And I'll go back and circle it over and over again. You could be whatever against LSU. Now, don't get blown out. That would be stupid. But if you lose, big if, they could win it. If they lose 27-24 and it's a great game, okay, they're 1-1.
Right.
That Friday game against Louisville, baby.
Mm-hmm.
That is the fulcrum moment. That is it. That you better win that game. I'll never be more nervous. If you look at the slate of games, it's crazy. It's like, well, where do you think you'd be most nervous? It's that one. It's that game if they lose to LSU.
Now, what if they beat LSU?
They're 2-0. All right, 2-1.
The pressure is to not get blown out.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, if you get blown out by Louisville,
but you know what I mean. But that's what I'm saying. It undoes it. You just went through everything. You went through those emotions. It just invalidated the win that I just gave you over LSU. What the hell? No. So then you're fake because LSU's fake. So the Louisville game, no matter what matters, is what you just told me with your response.
Agreed. Yes, it's a huge game. That's the one I circle. Timmy, I'm not talking for you. I'm talking generalized for the fan base, man. And yes, you're unwaveringly going to support and love this team, as we all do as Noles, no matter what, whether they're 1-9 or whatever, you're going to root for them. I got it. It doesn't matter if you give up on them or if I give up on them. We're talking about the basis for elite recruiting classes and winning over the casual fan, the one that lives in Orlando or down in South Florida that has to buy tickets to come to games. They're not coming.
I love electronic interactivity, like in Twitter with quote tweets and stuff like that. Just try and make it an analogy into real life. That would be like going to somebody presenting a speech, and then from the crowd you say, "Speak for yourself." Well, You're here.
Yeah, I am. Of course.
Yeah, but you're here, listening to the.
Yeah. No.
Neither here nor there.
Hamilton Home Loans. Chad and Shannon. They care deeply about Florida State. Man, do they care deeply about Florida State. So it is that if you call about the mortgage process and you're a little bit intimidated and you say, I need to speak to Shannon, part of the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans, I want to talk to Shannon. And he'll take every opportunity that he has to sit down and talk to you, not only about this process and ease your mind and tension about all of this, but also he'll talk a little Florida State football with you, just like I'm doing. Passionately so. 844 FSU loan. Get straight to it. 5-star mortgage experience and process. You could also, if you don't want to give him a call, FSUHomeLoans.com. Look him up online, FSUHomeLoans.com or 844 FSU loan.
Your local news now.
2 weeks after a deadly school shooting reignited debates about gun violence and securing schools, Governor DeSantis signed a bill Tuesday that will require mental health crisis intervention training for on-campus officers. The measure will also make other school safety changes, such as emergency drills for active assailant and hostage situations, bomb threats, and natural disasters. Those will be monitored now by the state. A Leon County Sheriff's Office deputy uncovered several illegal substances while arresting a man for driving with a suspended license. The deputy noticed a repeat traffic offender sitting in the driver's seat of a vehicle at a convenience store in the 6600 block of Thomasville Road around 8:30 p.m. The deputy ran a driver's license check and confirmed the driver, 31-year-old Maxwell Collins, was not allowed to drive because his license was suspended. While making the arrest, the deputy noticed the smell of marijuana in the vehicle, prompting a search. The deputy found fentanyl, cocaine, meth, THC oil, and about 1.6 pounds of marijuana in the search. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Partly cloudy this afternoon with a slight chance for scattered thunderstorms. High temperatures reach up to 94. Southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight. Slight chance for scattered thunderstorms. Lows level off around 73. Scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow. Highs level off around 94. A mix of clouds and sun. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 89.
Men, it's time. The Men's March to End Abortion and Rally for Personhood is Saturday, June 11th, the weekend before Father's Day, from 12 to 3 p.m. in Tallahassee, Florida. Men gather at 12 p.m. for the march. All women, children, and families join us for the 2 p.m. rally at the Florida State Capitol. You are needed. Every life matters. Join us on June 11th in Tallahassee. For more information, go to themensmarch.com.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
There's a TikTok that's going viral because of a butter softening method. They are putting the Vermont Creamery butter in the waistband of her pants. Give it 5 minutes. You can go and measure out your ingredients, and then your butter is ready to go. You cannot do this in Florida.
No.
Because your pants will be full of butter in 2 minutes. Somebody try it. Post on TikTok.
Unless it says juicy across the back.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
How did we get here so fast? Goodness gracious. All right, Tom, you told me something during the break. I'll make some guesses for you. Come on, bring it on. Let's go. Bring it up. Then we'll do a standalone tomorrow, and I'll do something on the college sports book for this.
So here's the news. DraftKings Sportsbook which whatever. Could be any sports book, really.
It's
And we'll
just
take
a
it.
real sports book. That's all you need.
They have the 2022 ACC projected win totals.
All right. So
All
let's
right.
just start with the meat and potatoes. Get right to it. We're late in the show. Plus, we got to do probables. I'm going to guess Florida State's is 6.5.
You're going to nail that one. 6.5 for
Okay.
Florida State.
Yep.
Like the over. Now, the thing to watch is I don't have the odds. So it could be over 6.5, like minus
Yeah, where's
180
the
or
juice?
something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Juice to the
So
over, juice to the
This
under.
is just about setting the number. We can get into those details tomorrow.
Yeah.
Who do you want to know next?
6.5 is the number for Florida State. I'm taking the over. I think they go 7-5.
You want to stick to the big programs, or you want me to go?
I want to
line
go
by
straight
line?
to the other one where we just got done talking about how important the
Okay.
game is, the Louisville game.
All right.
Okay,
What's the number?
7.5.
6.5.
Okay, same
Identical.
as Florida State. I
Yep.
think they're 7-5 as well. I'm going to go over with them.
All right.
Wake
How about
Forest.
Yep, that's okay. Wake Forest. What do you think?
7.5.
8.5.
Under.
Interesting.
Under. Get the hell out of here with that defense. Your
Yeah.
defense is garbage.
Those power polls would disagree. They'd say,
92nd last year, their defense. They're going to get toasted. No.
how about Miami?
Oh, people, they're in love with Miami. 8.5?
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
8.5.
Yeah,
Well done.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Well, they got Texas A&M this year, too. That's a toughie.
NC State.
Well, 8.5.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Good
yeah,
number.
I'm going over on that, by the
All
way.
right. Let's take a look at Pitt. Last year's ACC champion.
They're going to be overvalued. They're going to have their that's going to be too high.
You're correct.
Yeah, they're 8.5.
8.5.
I'm going under. No.
Mhm. How about the Goats? And I don't mean
Fraudulent Goats, North Carolina?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that ought to fall off a cliff.
There you go, Matthew.
Who's the bum playing quarterback for them? No, 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah,
All right,
we're
all right.
on this. All right, next.
How about Duke?
2.5.
3. There you go.
Okay.
You like the
yeah.
over. You like the
Yeah,
over
yeah,
there.
2.5.
All right.
Yeah.
And finally, we'll go with Clemson. What do you think from Clemson?
Oh, 10.5.
Yep. All right.
Nailed it.
You're on it.
Yeah.
You're ready.
10.5. I'm
Oh,
ready.
wait a minute. Here's an interesting one.
I'm
for you.
locked in, baby. Look at that.
Now,
Boom.
I don't know what their out of conference schedule looks like. I'm sure it's terrible, but BC.
Oh, Jesus. 5.5.
6.5.
Okay, pretty close. I'm going
Yeah.
under.
So they think that it's us, Louisville, and BC all around the same. That's not ACC win total. That's just your total 12-game win total. But they have us in the same ballpark.
FSU minus 110 over under 6.5 on FanDuel. Yeah. Minus
Really?
Yeah.
A straight play on the over.
Mm-hmm. Straight play on the over.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'll take FSU and lay the minus
Lay the
110.
wood. That's what you'll do.
Probables. Cue it up. Maybe with a little Seals and Croft. No, you can't do it, can you?
No.
Damn it, man.
No, there's no rule that says when somebody passes away, you can start using their music.
Heartless bastards, just like the Live Golf Group. There you go. Fire it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Shigga-digga-digga-doo. Doo-doo-doo. Tigers and Pirates 2-1. Tigers in the 8th. Let's go, Buccos. Alex Fado started for the Tigers. The Pirates started Mitch Keller, who's actually having a good game. Blue Jays Royals. That's a 3-1 Kansas City lead. Gucci. Brady Singer goes for the Royals. D-backs Reds. That's this evening. Merrill Kelly and Mike Minor. Mariners Astros. Logan Gilbert, Jose Urquidy. Nationals Marlins. Josiah Gray and Sandy Alcantara. Cubs Orioles. Marcus Stroman, Jordan Lyles. Cardinals Rays. Packy Naughton. See Tyler Walls went yards the other night to win it?
Taylor, yeah.
Taylor what? I call him Tyler. Oh, how quickly you forget when the good ones leave. Packy Naughton. Go over to Packy Naughton's place. Let's get lit.
You know who was pitching for the Twins last night?
Not Packy Naughton.
Cole Sands.
Was he really?
Yeah, got lit up by the Yankees, but who doesn't these days?
Corey Kluber going to go for the Rays. Rangers, Guardians, Dane Dunning and Shane Bieber. Athletics, Braves, Jared Cunning and Ian Anderson. Packy Naughton's got an open an Irish bar. I mean, what are we doing? What, I mean, come on. Tommy, meet me over at Packy Naughton's.
It's a smoking bar, and it's Naughton's, but you can get a Packy. You can get a Packy. There's a Packy special.
Man, Yankees, Twins, Nestor Cortez, Chris Archer.
Nestor.
Dodgers, White Sox, Tony Gonsolin, and Johnny Cueto. Johnny Cueto is still in the freaking league. Phillies, Brewers, Aaron Nola, Adrian Hauser, Red Sox, Angels, Nathan Eovaldi, Reed Detmers, Mets, Padres, Chris Bassett, and Sean Manaea. Rockies, Giants, Antonio Cincinnati, and Alex Wood. That's a look at those that shower us out of the bump. Looking at projected win totals in the National Football League from before, based on not a sports book, but rather strength of schedule numbers. Okay. What do you think the 49ers are at, by the way? Just for fun.
Ooh, in flux is where they're at as a roster.
Correct.
17-game season, 10.5.
9.5 is the line, the official line that's out there, but projected win total based on schedule is 9.8. Of course, this all comes back to whether or not certain players remain.
Mm-hmm. They told Garoppolo to stay away from minicamp.
I don't think any veteran quarterback, it's not a necessity necessarily, but they're also not starting him.
They're trying to unload him. Just save yourselves.
Don't
save
get
us.
hurt, dude. We're trying to get rid of you.
Yeah.
Good work out of you. Good work, Director Matthew. Be well, everybody. Have a great Balls McWednesday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.